Hello everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Learn with Lo. I'm really excited to continue our series today. We have been talking all things gut health. We spent a lot of June deep diving into the gut, which then naturally sends us into this liver conversation. And so today I want to take all of this liver conversation that we had last week and really talk about one of the biggest ways that we see the body participating in detoxification. I think when we hear the words detox and drainage, lymphatic system, lymphatic massage, all these kind of buzzwords, trendy words are really just talking about the process that is owned a lot by the liver, but that is detox, right? So what is detox? This is what we talked about a little bit last week if you missed out. Detoxification is really the fancy way of saying that we take things from a fat soluble state, make them water soluble, and then pee, poop, or sweat them out, okay? So our body has multiple different mechanisms to do that. The big organ that takes on a lot of this load is going to be the liver. And so the liver has a 3-phase process, phase 1, phase 2, all the way into phase 3. And at any of these points, this is where things can kind of get stalled out. Things can get a little bit stuck. Things can get a little bit funky. And one of the biggest ways that we tend to see liver issues in individuals is through the skin. One of the largest organs of our body. And as we just discussed, that is how the body detoxes anything that it considers a toxin. Fat soluble makes it water soluble, and then we pee, poop, or sweat it out. So the body actually uses the skin as an outlet for what the liver or the gut is not handling well. Okay, so that should already give us a little bit of some pause of being like, that's super interesting that the skin is almost a backup mechanism for what the liver and the gut are not doing well. Yet what do? We're out here from a more conventional dermatology standpoint, and we're treating this as an inside out problem. We're treating this as an outside in problem. And we really have kind of this like topical heavy approach where we're going to use creams or we're going to use steroids. We're going to use multiple different things, multiple different face washes and new serums and new products. I promise you that by the time we're done today, you'll have realized like, why the heck have I tried so many different topical solutions to my skin issues when this whole time my skin is simply just trying to outlet as a detox for what my gut and my liver are not doing well. And really the solution is an inside out approach, not an outside in. Yes, you're going to run home and ditch all of the different topical treatments that you've tried, not because they can't be helpful. They can absolutely be part of the treatment. I just have a problem when we're sold this idea that topicals are the treatment to skin issues. And I just don't believe that that's the case. They can be part of the treatment for sure, because they can help kind of reduce symptoms, in an interim sense, but they are not the root cause of why many people are having skin issues to begin with. So what we want to think about, like I said, if you caught last week's episode, I think a lot of us are kind of getting duped on social media a little bit, thinking about the buzzwords of detox and liver, lymphatic drainage, and we're taught that it's all about these fancy gadgets these days, that it's about your vibration plates and it's about your lymphatic massages or your lemon water or these fancy binders and detoxes. And I hate to break it to you, but you're going to get nowhere fast if this is your only understanding of the body's detoxification pathways, because what we're really looking at is bile issues, dysbiosis in the gut. We're talking about even stress and nutrient deficiencies. These are the things that are actually at the root cause of this perfect storm behind poor detoxification capacity. And if nobody's told you yet, know that when your liver can't keep up and your bile cannot drain properly, your lymphatic system, which is that big highway that drains all of the toxins in our body, your lymphatic system actually kind of gets thick. It can't drain very well. Your gut is leaky. Your toxin burden keeps on climbing. Your body has no other way out. It has to find a way out, and that becomes your skin. Okay, so this episode really, I want to make it for anybody out there that's been told your skin is because of, it's just your hormones, or anybody that's been handed a steroid cream or prescribed antibiotics for the 3rd time this year for reoccurring skin issues, because what your body really needs is someone to ask the question and help you answer, what is your skin trying so hard to eliminate for you? That's what's really happening here. So this gut, liver, skin axis is really a lot of the root cause problems behind chronic skin conditions, and slathering on more creams is probably just another form of the incomplete medicine that we see out there today. So I really want to kind of dive into this because I want to talk about some very specific skin issues that I see in practice, from acne to psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis. And I really want to talk about what are the things that I clinically have seen at the root cause of these individual skin issues that's not really getting touched by conventional dermatology. Because conventional dermatology, like I said, they have tools in their toolbox that are very helpful for surface level treatments, but it's built really on the same model as all of conventional medicine or all of modern medicine, which is more of a symptom suppression model. Their goal isn't, they don't have a toolbox that digs into the root cause behind your skin issues or the root cause behind your acne. To them, the success is, well, did I get it to go away? Okay, cool. And it's like, no. That's not the routine of like, oh, you gave me a cream, and as long as I use the cream every single day, it goes away. But if I don't use the cream, then it comes back. I'm like, then we didn't do shit. Like that's not curing anything if we are relying on a cream or a topical, or it gets worse, or it works for a short time and then it doesn't work anymore. Then we know that we haven't gotten to the root issue yet. So if you show up with red, itchy, inflamed skin, you get a prescription for something that stops your skin from reacting for a short time, but really the question is, why is your skin reacting in the first place? What is it reacting to? Because the skin is your largest detoxification organ on your body, and all of our brilliant detoxification organs, from our liver, our lymphatic system, the gut, the kidneys, if they are congested and they're overwhelmed, you're going to be flaring that on the surface because the body's got to find a way out for some of these things. So let me just say it one more time. Your skin is not the issue here. Your gut and your liver are the issue, because they should be taking over a brunt of your detoxification. And if your body is using your skin at this point in time, then the gut and the liver have probably had some issues with backlog and recycling for a while now, because the body does not use the skin as its first preferential elimination pathway, okay? So if you're having skin issues, it's probably because there's been some underlying gut and or liver things boiling underneath the surface for quite some time, and now the body's like, I don't have anywhere else to go. I've got to push this out through the skin. So when we think about the gut-liver kind of skin connection, we really have to make sure that we understand our major elimination pathways, right? So pee, poop, sweat are kind of our major ones. If you are constipated on a consistent basis, and constipation is defined as anything less than one well-formed bowel movement per day. So if you're like, oh, I know I kind of poop every other day, that's constipation. Or I do use the restroom every day, but it's like small pebbles. I'm like, no, that's constipation. So if you are not eliminating well through your gut, and that goes for both extremes. I don't want extreme constipation, and I also don't want loose or urgent stools, because even though it feels like I'm detoxing well, you are not detoxing well if it's not a solid, well-formed bowel movement every day. And then we also think about, too, our overall, like how our liver detoxes through those three phases is very nutrient dependent. So I would say the biggest things that I see are individuals that are constipated and they're extremely nutrient depleted as well too, usually through years of blood sugar dysregulation, chronic dieting. Those can really wreak havoc on our overall detox pattern. So many skin issues are actually downstream of gut dysbiosis. Hello, endotoxemia, leaky gut. Yes, leaky gut is very real. If you aren't familiar with leaky gut, go back about 3 episodes and listen to me talk all things leaky gut and intestinal permeability. Poor bile flow, or if you have had your gallbladder removed, I see a lot of individuals actually have skin issues years after gallbladder removal surgery. Those are not unconnected. That is very real. Estrogen dominance issues, chronic constipation, or nutrient depletions. And now all of a sudden you have this backlog of phase 2 detoxification through the liver because you don't have enough nutrients to take things from a fat soluble state, make them water soluble, and pee, poop, or sweat them out. So like I said, your skin is always going to detox what your liver and your gut cannot. So always recognize that skin issues, the first thing you should think of is what's going on in my gut and what's going on in my liver. You can exfoliate, you can restrict foods until the cows come home, you can buy 15 more high quality products, but if you're ignoring the internal terrain of why your body is using skin as a detox outlet, you're missing the point. And that pathology is not skin deep. This is systemic. This is an inside out transformation. This is not something that's probably going to successfully be an outside in transformation. At best, if we think of it as outside in and we just think about topical solutions or antibiotic creams and steroid creams or different products or different elimination diets, you might see some success. I'm not saying that you won't see some reduction. But rarely, if ever, have I seen it completely eliminate the problem without that person having to stay on those products. I'm like, no, that's not the point. If you have to use a steroid cream for the rest of your life, or you're like, oh, as long as I eliminate gluten and dairy and soy and eggs and almonds, like my skin is pretty good. I'm like, that's not the point. You've missed the point entirely then, okay? We have to start asking the question of why. What is my skin trying to purge? What is my skin trying to get out? So to kind of give you guys some like real context clues, especially if you know that you struggle with some skin conditions, I want to walk through some of the most common ones that I see in practice and what I actually see as common themes underneath the surface. So let's take the most, probably the most well talked about skin condition that can make people, especially females, feel very self-conscious, that being acne. Acne is a big one, whether it's on the face or it's body acne. We really, like the first thing we think of in conventional dermatology is we always blame bacteria. It's always this conversation of like acne, we got bad guys. And so you get antibiotic creams. You also get antibiotic prescriptions to like kill the bad guys like from the inside as well. And like antibiotics on your skin, antibiotics in your gut. Well, guess what? Your skin has a microbiome and your gut has a microbiome. And so if we're just going to come in with a flamethrower and try to eliminate the bad guys, you're going to take collateral damage of the good guys with it. End of story. And so what happens is really what you're trying to maintain in the gut and in the skin. I talk to my patients about this all the time. When it comes to the microbiome, all we're looking for is the balance between good guys and bad guys. So let's just theoretically say that acne is an issue of too many bad guys, right? If that's truly the issue, what you're going to feel and see is the ratio of, ooh, I have too many bad guys. If we just come in with topical antibiotics and oral antibiotics, guess what we're doing? We're taking that ratio and we're lowering the bad guys and also lowering the good guys at the same amount. You haven't changed the ratio. You've simply just lowered the threshold for both the good guys and the bad guys. Do you think that that treatment plan has a whole lot of staying power long term? No, ma'am, it does not. Okay. We can't just take the good guys and the bad guys and make them all lower and be like, look, I fixed it. It's like, no, that microbiome, the second that you're off of the antibiotics, is going to go right back, and it might actually come back even worse because the chances of the good guys growing back are slim to none. So we've reduced the good guys and the bad guys. The bad guys are going to grow back, no problem. And now we've made the ratio even bigger. Like we cannot just think of this as a pure bacterial problem. And this even goes back to, I see this all the time, but it's just fresh in my mind because I had a gal last week who came to me. And we had done some gut testing and things, but not all of her symptoms, but one of her main symptoms was acne. And she's like, no matter what I do, nothing touches it. I eliminated dairy. And, recently I've been on 12 weeks of an antibiotic from my doctor to clear my skin. And I was like, how is it working? And she's like, it's not. And I'm like, do we feel like we need 12 weeks of an antibiotic just to see? Throw something at the wall to see what sticks, as if antibiotics don't have like some serious collateral damage that comes with them. I'm like, I am sorry. That is like the most like lazy, incomplete care to me, is just tossing a 12-week antibiotic prescription at an 18-year-old with like no thought process aside from like, oh, let's just see if this clears your acne. I'm like, well, what if it does and you take her off the antibiotic and then the acne comes back? Are you just going to put her on another antibiotic? I'm like, what is the end game here, people? We cannot just think about acne as a bad bacteria problem. The other place that acne gets blamed is hormones, right? And again, these are not untrue things. They're short-sighted. They're incomplete care because yes, while things like androgens and testosterone can play a role, the real issue here is that that person's body is not able to detox their hormones. That's the thing. It's like testosterone's not the problem here. The problem is she is producing an adequate amount of testosterone. She is not detoxing her testosterone. So we're out here. This is going to be a whole nother conversation, but it's out here. We're blaming testosterone in like a PCOS picture. And I'm like, guys, this is not a testosterone issue. She cannot detox her testosterone. So instead of just like shutting her testosterone off with birth control, we need that. Even as females, yes, we need testosterone. This is about a balance. We need to help her body better detox the testosterone that she is making because she's recycling it right now. She should use it and lose it, but because her gut and her liver suck at this point in time, they're under-resourced, they're undernourished, she cannot detox her own hormones and therefore has androgen dominance and therefore has acne, okay? So this is not a bad bacteria picture. This is not a too much testosterone picture. This is truly a detoxification issue, okay? This is something I get immensely passionate about, and it is a hill that I will die on because I just feel so many people are getting incomplete care, and that really grinds my gears. It's one thing if we give somebody the full picture gamut and they decide to just pursue topical solutions, that's fine. Like, that's your choice. But for someone to not even know that this is actually at the root cause, they're like, well, if I would have known that, I would have never taken the antibiotics. I'm like, that is what is a problem to me. If you choose the antibiotic route, feeling fully educated, that's great. I am not anti-antibiotics. I just don't want to use them to throw them at a wall to see if it gets rid of an 18-year-old's acne for 12 weeks. That to me just seems like a lot of risk for a very low reward. Instead, let's look at what the most common real root causes of acne that I tend to see in practice. Number one, I'm always looking at someone's gut. For sure, do not pass go, do not collect $200. One thing that I really tend to see is an H. pylori infection. H. pylori can be common with acne because it can lower stomach acid. It can increase food sensitivities and things like that. So I do see H. pylori and acne going together. I also see a large amount of dysbiosis, usually too many bad guys in the form of either candida or even parasitic overgrowths, which both of those present as acne. Neither of those are touched by antibiotics. So again, I just see so many people come in and I do some gut testing with them because they have acne, and I find that they have H. pylori and candida and they've been put on antibiotics. And I'm like, that's not even an antifungal therapy. Like, that's not going to touch your problem because nobody tested you first. So we definitely look at the state of the gut. I always look at insulin resistance patterns because insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation are absolutely going to be at the heart of poor liver detoxification. So if someone is holding on to a lot of testosterone, they do have androgen dominance, they do have a lot of those hormonal acne pictures. It usually goes back to blood sugar regulation or an overloaded phase 1 detoxification of the liver, which usually is due to stress, synthetic toxins, and things like that as well too. So when I'm looking at acne, I'm not looking at just topical solutions. I'm looking at what's the state of the gut, the state of the balance of the good guys and the bad guys, and if there is a dysbiosis, if there's low good guys, high bad guys, what exactly do we need to rebalance this picture, not just decimate the whole picture farther by throwing some antibiotics at it, either topical or oral. So that's what I have to say about acne. When we think about like eczema kind of dermatitis, not dissimilar, but it also is different. Eczema and dermatitis is very often tied more to the immune system. So I think about, I'm like, what's going on with leaky gut? What's going on with the small intestine? Why is the immune system so trigger happy right now? What is it responding to? So oftentimes I see staph or strep overgrowths. And yes, that is the same streptococcus strain that you would get from like a strep throat type of situation. Staph or strep overgrowths, food sensitivities can be closely tied to eczema and dermatitis. Now, remember, food sensitivities are not the treatment. You don't treat eczema by eliminating a bunch of foods and then calling it good. The food sensitivities are there because the immune system is trigger happy and there's a leaky gut. So just know that food sensitivities tend to go really closely hand in hand with eczema and dermatitis, but that's not the problem. It's not the treatment. And then sometimes I also see histamine overload due to poor methylation or low DAO enzyme activity, which is very mineral dependent. So vitamins and minerals are really, really important here to keep these detoxification pathways running high. We had a really great question coming in. How do you test the gut for dysbiosis? Do you do GI map testing? Yes, I would definitely encourage GI map testing. That's exactly what I do in practice, especially in my Renew Your Gut program. That is what my Renew Your Gut program is all about. Doing a GI map test, getting 90 days of accountability and support together so that we can work through the results of the GI map test and not just throw something at a wall to see what sticks, but truly seeing what your unique picture is. So yes, definitely recommend doing some GI map testing, and that is why I built my Renew Your Gut program. So go to the link in my bio, shameless plug. The link in my bio will take you to my website where you can register for my Renew Your Gut program or check out any of my products and services. Psoriasis, kind of building on this eczema dermatitis conversation. Psoriasis is a little bit different than eczema. Eczema tends to present itself in someone's skin folds. So like eczema is sometimes like in the elbow creases, in the armpits, or around like the nose and kind of mouth. That's a lot more eczema, or like under the breast tissue or even under the butt cheeks. Like skin folds is usually where eczema comes in. Psoriasis is different. Psoriasis isn't quite as like itchy as eczema. Psoriasis is more thick and scaly. It's very dry. And so psoriasis tends to be on joint caps. So like on the elbows, or like on the kneecaps, or even sometimes on the back as well too. You'll get more of those like thick, scaly, dry patches on the skin. And psoriasis is absolutely full-blown autoimmune pattern. So guess what? 80% of our immune system lives in our gut. So when we see psoriasis, I always think of like, are there any gut infections? Are we at the place where we have like full stage 3 leaky gut and we're seeing an endotoxemia picture here? Alcohol, stress, sugar, all of those things can really disrupt that detoxification pathways as well too. Psoriasis is an odd one. I don't tend to see quite as much where there's like too much bad bacteria. Psoriasis, I tend to see a lot of depletion. I see usually a lot of low beneficial bacteria in a psoriasis, because you think like an autoimmune pattern, we're super depleted, okay? Autoimmune patterns do not just develop overnight. They are usually years and decades of that immune system running hot, and then it's not been paid attention to, and it crashes on us, so the body is very depleted. So by the time I test somebody's gut who has full-blown autoimmune patterns, even if it's psoriasis, usually everything is low, right? And this isn't always the case, but it's like low beneficial bacteria, low secretory IgA, low stomach acid. I'm like, woof. I'm like, your poor body is just depleted, right? And so then the immune system is really hyper vigilant because it's like, holy crap, like I don't have any help here. And that's really, like I said, where those autoimmune patterns develop. So psoriasis, I definitely think a lot more autoimmune tendencies. I think about low and depleted states. Definitely an overstimulated nervous system, because usually, like I said, adrenal stress and adrenal burnout is also part of that autoimmune reversal as well too. So this is where, like I said, when I think about skin issues and this like gut, liver, skin connection, if you have been someone that has chronically struggled with skin issues, whether it's acne, psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis, rosacea even, which I didn't talk about as much today, but it's like these chronic skin issues are so emotionally fatiguing. They're debilitating because they're just part of that, something that you're thinking about every day, especially if you wear it on your face, right? It's like, it's constantly wondering, how am I presenting myself to the world? Am I presenting my most confident self and most authentic self? Know that I see you. I see where you're exhausted, and I see where you've tried everything. You've tried the protocols, the practitioners, the probiotics, the food elimination diets, the expensive topicals, the endless amounts of antibiotics. Like, I see you. You have been made to feel like your skin is like at fault, that it's just sensitive, or you're just hormonal. It's like, no, your skin is not the problem. You've just been receiving incomplete care this whole time. That's the problem, right? I'm sorry, but like, your incomplete care, that's the problem. And what someone should have done for you a long time ago, and what I am happy to help walk you through, is that process where skin issues don't feel so random. It doesn't feel like purely cosmetic. It's actually your body communicating something deeper within. And there is, like I said, it removes the shame and really gives you that empowerment and sovereignty back into your own health journey, which is really cool. So it's not just the skin, but it's like how many other things domino effect when you start to look at the body from a holistic lens view. It's like not just clearing your skin, but you're like, oh my gosh, my bowel movements are so much better. I'm not bloated. I'm not reactive to so many foods. I feel confident going out with my friends and taking trips and like eating new foods, and my menstrual cycles are even better. It's like, that is complete care. Anybody can throw some topicals at your skin, but you're like, well, great, I think my acne went down a little bit, but my gut still sucks. I'm still bloated. My menstrual cycles are still a nightmare, and I'm still reactive to all sorts of foods. I'm like, that's because you got incomplete care, my friend, right? You got an outside in solution to something that's actually an inside out problem. Okay. So if this is something, like I said, that you've dealt with, and you want some more of those like actual complete care answers, those holistic medicine answers, head over to the link in my bio. It will take you to my website. You would be a fantastic candidate for my Renew Your Gut protocol, where we can actually do some deeper dive testing. We can have our follow-up sessions together. You get one-on-one support, personalized guidance from myself. Well, yes, we will talk about blood sugar. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about gut, and we're going to talk about liver, and we're going to talk about hormones. We're going to really start to put your body back together and not just treat the skin as the skin, because the skin is simply just a reflection of what's happening from the outside in. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I got a little sciencey and specific because I think that can be fun to just kind of go down the rabbit hole. But like I said, if you want to learn more, click the link in my bio. It will take you to my website where you can schedule a consult for us. And I would look forward to meeting you. We'll see you guys next Monday.